Hello and welcome everyone to the daily news analysis of 8th of December 2023। तो इम्पोर्टेंट आर्टिकल आज की जो है हिंदू न्यूज़पेपर से। रघुनाथ sworn in as Telangana CM, then center announces 1500 crore aid to Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh after cyclone wreaks havoc. Then Panam assassination plot likely at the top of RBI chief's agenda on India visit next week. Then center approved board praising Tagore put up at Santiniketan to mark UNESCO World Heritage Tag. UGC note shown for short-term courses. No fret accompli regulating deep fake and AI in India. Then Supreme Court asks center to give details of inflow of Indian migrants. Then RBI's MPC may reject growth inflation math. Then preparing for health emergency after flood. तो पहला जो है रेवना सोरेन इज द तेलंगाना चीफ मिनिस्टर। Soon after, Annamula Ravnath Reddy was sworn in as the first Congress Chief Minister of Telangana on Thursday in front of crowd of thousands at the Lal Bahadur Stadium in the state's capital. He vowed to revive a tradition of inviting the public into the halls of power to present their grievances directly to him. He immediately signed his first file to implement six welfare guarantees that headlined the Congress poll manifesto. Telangana Governor Tamilisai Soundarajan administered the oath of office to Mr. Reddy in the presence of Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge and other leaders, including Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, and Priyanka Gandhi Bhadra. The barricades that distanced the Telangana society and people from the government are being demolished now, and the gates are open for the people to come with their grievances. Mr. Reddy said after taking oath, he invited the people to come to the newly renamed Jyotirao Phule Praja Bhavan at 10 a.m. on Friday for the Praja Darbar or public court for grievance redressal. As soon as he took the charge, Mr. Reddy signed two files, the first to implement the sixth welfare measures promised by the Congress during its campaign, and the second to provide a job to T. Rajni, a person with a disability to whom Mr. Reddy had promised employment while on campaign trail. The outgoing Congress legislature party leader Mallu Bhatti Vikramarka took oath as the Deputy Chief Minister along with 10 others chosen to be the part of the Council of Ministers. In an emotional speech, Mr. Reddy said that the Telangana came into existence a decade ago, through the sweat and blood, the struggle and sacrifices of the state's people. The state has been ruled by Bharat Rashtra Samiti, BRS, earlier known as the Telangana Rashtra Samiti, since it was formed in 2014. He also thanked Congress workers who had endured repression for the last 10 years. Massive turnout, thousands of Congress workers and supporters turned up to occupy every seat at the LB Stadium while thousands more waited outside. There was a huge uproar as the CM began taking oath by declaring his name in Telugu, saying Ravnath Reddy Anne Nenu. Mrs. Anasuya, better known as Sithaka, also received a tremendous response as she rose to take oath. Kunda Surekha touched Gandhi's feet, who then rose and hugged her. Mr. Gandhi and Karnataka CM Siddaramaiah were seen shaking hands with each other of newly sworn in minister, while Mrs. Bhadra greeted them with folded hands. The new CM's wife Geeta, his daughter Nemisa, and grandson Riyansh were also on stage with other family members. The next day, center announces 1500 crore aid to Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh after cyclone wreaks havoc. The Union government on Thursday released 493.60 crore to Andhra Pradesh and 450 crore to Tamil Nadu in the wake of damage inflicted by severe cyclone storm Michaung this week. Apart from this, the centre approved another tranche of 561.29 crore rupees for Chennai for flood mitigation efforts. Help for Chennai. Making the announcement on X, Union Home Minister Amit Shah posted Chennai is facing major floods and the third such occurring in the last 8 years. We are witnessing more instances of metropolitan cities receiving excessive rainfall leading to sudden flooding guided by a proactive Sri Narendra Modi ji has approved the first urban flood mitigation project of 561.29 crore for integrated urban flood management activities for Chennai Basin project under the National Disaster Mitigation Fund NDMF, which also includes central assistance of 500 crore. This mitigation project will help make Chennai flood resilient. This is the first in a series of urban flood mitigation efforts, he said. In another post, he said many areas in Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu continue to remain inundated, thus affecting standing crops. To help the state governments with the management of relief, Mr. Modi had directed the Ministry of Home Affairs (MHA) to release in advance the central share of second installment of the State Disaster Response Fund of 493.60 crore rupees to Andhra Pradesh and 450 crore rupees to Tamil Nadu. The center has already released the first installment of the same amount to both states. I pray for the safety and well-being of all those affected, he said. And next, Panon assassination plot likely to be at the top of RBI chief's agenda on India visit next week. The US indictment of an Indian national for an assassination plot against wanted Khalistani separatist Gurpatwant Singh Panon, allegedly directed by an Indian government official, is likely to be at the top of the agenda of as the US Federal Bureau of Investigation Director Christopher Wray travels to India next week. Mr. Wray, whose visit was announced by US Ambassador Eric Garcetti at an event on Wednesday night, will visit Delhi a few days after US Principal Deputy National Security Advisor Jonathan Feiner, who discussed India's decision to set up a high-level inquiry into the case. The announcement of the FBI chief's trip came just as a US Senate Foreign Relation Committee hearing got underway on transnational repression, authoritarian targeting dissenters. Aboard the committee included the case of Anand and the killing of Canadian Palestinian Hardeep Singh Nijjar in statements that sought to club India with countries like Russia, China, and Iran that it is accused of targeting dissident in other countries. This was the number one country that U.S. Secretary of the Treasury Jayant Yellen went to outside the United States 4 times this year. Mr. Garcetti said, highlighting the strength of the India-U.S. relationship at a global technology summit organized by the Ministry of External Affairs and Carnegie India in Delhi. Anand met of RBI chief's India plan. The Secretary of State Antonio Blinken just came here for the third time. Secretary of Defense General retired Lord Austin for second time. The FBI director is here next. He added in the first public acknowledgement of FBI's chief visit last month. Mr. Blinken said that he had raised the issue during his talks with external affairs ministers S. Jaishankar when he visited Delhi for the 2+2 dialogue. According to US news reports that have not been denied. A Central Intelligence Agency (CIA) Director William Burns and Director of National Intelligence Avril Haines has also discussed concerns over a government official's alleged link to the plot during visit to Delhi in the past few months. On Tuesday, the US State Department said that it took the details of the indictment very seriously. According to the US Department of Justice (DOJ), indictment was that was published last week and unnamed but identified senior Indian government intelligence officials had recruited an Indian national Nikhil Gupta, who is involved in the illicit narcotics and arms trade, to hire a hitman in the US for the targeting of Khalistani separatists in the US and Canada. The Ministry of External Affairs has not denied the charges but announced the constitution of a high-level inquiry and asserted that such operations are not government policy. Both Panan and Niger has been on the Home Minister's list of terrorists under the UAP, officials said at the US Senate's hearing on transitional repression. Lawmakers heard from activists and experts, including Freedom House President Michael Abramovich, who expressed concerns over the backlashing of democracy in India and other countries, accusing democratic governments of using authoritarian repressive measures and surveillance to track dissidents. Then Center approved board praising Tagore Fort at Santiniketan to mark UNESCO World Heritage Tag. Vishwabharati University has finally replayed the controversial plaques commemorating UNESCO's World Heritage Tag to Santiniketan with a board approved by the center. It was in the mid-September that the Santiniketan, founded by the Devendranath Tagore and home to Vishwabharati, the university set up by his son Rabindranath, was accorded the heritage status soon. Plaques came up marking the sites but bore only the names of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is the Chancellor, and the then Vice Chancellor Vidyut Chakravarti. The move kicked up a storm and put the administration on the back foot. It claimed that the plaques were temporarily erected to demarcate the heritage area, and they carried the names of the chancellor and the vice chancellor purely authentications. In late November, text in Hindi and English drafted by the Archaeological Survey of India and approved by the Union Ministry of Education were sent to Vishwabharati for correction and for Bengali translations. The university then formed a committee for the purpose, and on Wednesday night a trilingual lingual board came up. The ASI text not only mentioned Rabindranath Tagore but also soured him with his superlatives that the committee had to tone it down. Tagore's name, for example, was prefixed with the word great. Now Tagore himself would not have approved of it, the source told the Hindu. The new board states Santiniketan continues to stand as a beacon of intercultural dialogue and artistic expression, nurturing the spirit of innovation and harmony. It remains a testament to Rabindranath Tagore's vision of an abode where the world makes its home in a single nest, resonating with the timeless pursuit of knowledge and university in diversity. Footnotes: to possibly avoid controversy, it has a footnote. The text on this board is of the officially approved statement of the UNESCO recognition of heritage status and is endorsed by the Ministry of Education. Then UGC node shown for short-term courses. Higher education institutions will soon have the freedom to introduce short-term credit-linked skill development certificate course to 3 to 6 months. The self-financing courses may be offered to those who have qualified in the senior secondary exam 10 plus 2 and are eligible for admission to any undergraduate program of the institution. The university grants a commission UGC at its meeting on Thursday approved the guidelines for the HEIs to start such courses. The draft will be published on its website for public comments. As many as 29 courses have been included. The HEI could offer courses provided that they have the infrastructure and training capacity. A short-term course in any stream shall be of at least 12 credits and a maximum of 30 credits with greater focus on practical learning. The curriculum may be developed in consultation with the relevant sector, skills council or existing accredited bodies or institutions and industry partners. Candidates may take a maximum of 2 courses during their degree and diploma programs. Institution may have a say in how they conduct the theory classes, but the hands-on training must happen in an industry setting or workshop. Joint certificates. The HEI shall conduct assessment for the courses and may issue joint certificates with the respective sector skill councils if the course is offered with an industry partner council professional body. Joint certification may be provided. Then no fait accompli. It has been more than 5.5 years since an elected government collapsed and a governor's rule was imposed in Jammu and Kashmir amidst the suspension of selected elected assembly, a step that heralded dramatic changes in the erstwhile state. Subsequently, Article 370 that provided for special status for the erstwhile state was removed. The state bifurcated with the two regions encompassing Jammu and the Kashmir Valley made into a new union territory and Ladakh hived off into another. The constitutionality of these changes is still under question and the Supreme Court has reserved its verdict on it, but this has not deterred the Union government from bringing about legislation that will change the makeup of the UT's prospective legislative assembly beyond the completion of the delimitations exercise. On Wednesday, the Lok Sabha passed the Jammu Kashmir Reorganization Amendment Bill 2023 and the Jammu and Kashmir Resolution Amendment Bill 2023. These bills do not necessarily bring about any significant change. The first increases the total number of assembly seats from 107 to 114 with reservations of 9 seats for scheduled tribes. A first, besides empowering the lieutenant governor of effect governor to effect some nominations. The second seeks to replace the term weak and unprivileged classes Social Caste in the Jammu and Kashmir Region Act 2004, enacted by the state legislature to other backward classes as declared by United UTs. Proper- Propriety would have demanded that even these changes could have waited for Supreme Court's verdict, which is due soon, on the legality of the abrogation of a special status besides the bifurcation of the erstwhile state and the procedure adopted to do so. Without the involvement of elected representatives from Jammu and Kashmir in the process, the changes proposed in the Lok Sabha would only seem to be acts that are presented as the fait accompli to the UPSC citizens. This should also be taken together with the fact that the last 5.5 years have seen the suspension of political and civil liberties of politicians at arbitrary arrests and detention, communication shutdowns, a chilling effect on the media, and more recently, long power cuts. Any change to the political life of Jammu and Kashmir, citing its status as a region affected by separatism and terrorism should not be done in a way that the citizens feel alienated. The first order of business in Jammu and Kashmir has to be the restoration of a democratic process by holding popular elections and the restoration of its statehood. This should help not just fill a glaring void in the public life in the region in the immediate, but also set the stage for addressing the long pending issues that have led to the persistence of militancy. When next, regulating deepfakes and AI in India. Last month, a video featuring actor Rashmika Mandana went viral on social media, sparking a combination of shocks and horror among netizens. The second long clip, which featured Mandana's likeness, was manipulated using deepfakes technologies. Deepfakes are digital media, video, audio, and images edited and manipulated using artificial intelligence. Since they incorporate hyper realistic digital falsification, they can potentially be used to damage reputations and undermine trust in the democratic institution. This phenomena has forayed into political messaging as well as a concern in the run-up to the general election next year. Have deepfakes been used in politics? Back in 2020, in the first ever use of AI-generated deepfakes in political campaign, a series of videos of Bharatiya Janata Party leader Manoj Tiwari was circulated on multiple WhatsApp groups. The videos showed Mr. Tiwari hurling allegations against his political opponent Arvind Kejriwal in English and Haryanvi before Delhi election. In a similar incident, a doctored video of Madhya Pradesh Congress chief Kamal Nath recently went viral, creating confusion over the future of the state government's Ladli Behna scheme. Other countries are also grappling with the dangerous consequences of rapidly evolving AI technology. In May last year, a deepfake of Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky is asking his countrymen to lay down their weapons went viral after cybercrime criminals hacked into a Ukrainian television channel. How did deepfakes tech emerge? Deepfakes are made using technology such as AI and machine learning, blurring the lines between the fictions and reality. Although they have a benefit in education, film production, criminal forensic, and artistic expressions, they can also be used to exploit people, sabotage elections, and spread large-scale misinformation. While editing tools like Photoshop have been in use for decades, in the first ever use of deepfake technologies can reportedly be traced back to a Reddit users who in 2017 software to create pornographic content by imposing the faces of celebrities onto the bodies of ordinary people. Now, deepfake can easily be generated by semi-skilled or and unskilled individual by morphing audio visual clips and images. So, as such technology become harder to detect, more resources are now accessible to equip individuals against their misuse. For instance, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology created a direct fake websites to help people identify deepfakes by focusing on small intricate details. The use of deepfakes to perpetrate online gendered violence has also been a rising concern. A 2019 study conducted by AI firm Deep Trace found that a staggering 96% of deepfakes were pornographic and 99% of them involved women, highlighting how deepfakes are being weaponized against women. Apar Gupta founding director of Internet Freedom Foundation (IFF), says romantic partners utilize deepfake technology to shame women who have spooned their advances, causing them psychological trauma in addition to the social sanctions that they are bound to suffer. What are the laws against the misuse of deepfakes? India lacks specific laws to address deepfakes and AI-related crimes, but provisions under a plethora of legislation could offer both civil and animal criminal relief. For instance, Section 66E of the Information Technology Act 2000 IT Act is applicable in case of deepfakes crimes that involve the capture, publication, or transmission of a person's image in mass media, thereby violating their privacy. Such an offence is punishable with up to 3 years of imprisonment or fine of 2 lakh. Further, Section 67, 67A and 67B of the IT Act can be used to prosecute individuals for publishing of or transmitting deepfakes that are obscene or contain sexually explicit act. The IT rule also prohibits hosting any content that impersonate another person and require social media platforms to quickly take down artificially morphed images of individuals when alerted. In case they fail to take down such components, they risk losing the safe harbor protection and a provision that protects social media companies from regulatory liability for third-party content shared by users on their platform. Provision of the Indian Penal Code (IPC) can also be restored for cybercrime associated with deepfakes. Section 509 words, gesture, and/or act intended to insult the modesty of a woman. 499 criminal defamation and 153 clause A and clause B spreading hate on communal lines, among others. The Delhi Police Special Cell has reportedly registered an FIR against unknown persons by invoking Section 465 forgery and 469 forgery to harm the reputation of a party in Mandana case. Is there a legal vacuum? The existing laws are not really adequate given the fact that they were never sort of designed keeping in mind these emerging technologies, says Sehnaz Ahmed, fintech led at the Bidhi Central for Legal Policy in Delhi. She, however, cautions that bringing about piecemeal legislative amendments is not the solution. There is a sort of moral panic today, which has emanated from these recent high-profile cases, but we seem to be losing focus from the bigger question: what should be India's regulatory approach on emerging technology like AI? She says she highlights that such a regulatory framework must be based on a market study that assesses the different kinds of harm perpetrated by AI technology, pointing out a lacuna in the IT rules. She says that it only addresses instances wherein the illegal content has already been uploaded and the resultant harm has been suffered. Instead, there has to be more focus on preventive measures, for instance, making users aware that they are losing at a morphed image, agreeing that there is a need to revamp the existing laws. Mr. Gupta points out that the current regulation only focus on either online takedowns or criminal prosecutions, but lack a deeper understanding of how generative AI technology works and the wide range of harm that it can cause. The law The laws place the entire burden on the victim to file a complaint. For many, the experience that they have with the local police stations that is less than satisfactory in terms of their investigation or the prepared, perpetrator facing any kind of penalty. He asserts. What has been the center's response? The Union Minister of Electronics and Information Technology, Vaishnav, on November 23 chaired a meeting with social media platforms, AI companies, and industry bodies where he acknowledged that a new crisis is emerging due to deepfakes and that there is a very big section of society which does not have a parallel verification system to tackle this issue. He also announced that the government will introduce the draft regulations which will be open to public consultation within the next 10 days to address the issue. However, the Ministry of State for Electronics and Information Technology Meiti Rajiv Chandrasekhar has maintained that the existing laws are adequate to deal with deepfakes if enforced strictly. He said that a special officer will be appointed to closely monitor any violence and that an online platform will also be set up to assist aggrieved users and citizens in filing affairs for deepfake crimes. Mr. Gupta's point out the advisory issued by the Meiti does not mean anything. It does not have the force of law. It is essentially to show some degree of responsiveness, given that there is a moral panic around generative AI sparked by Rosmika Mandana viral clip. It does not account for the fact that deepfakes may not be distributed only on social media platforms. How have the other countries fared? In October 23, a US President Joe Biden signed a far-reaching executive order on AI to manage its risk ranging from national security to privacy. Additionally, Deepfakes Accountability Bills 2023 recently introduced in Congress requires creators to label deepfakes on online platforms and to provide a notification of alteration to a video or other content. Falling Failing to level such malicious deepfakes would invite criminal sanctions. The European Union has strengthened its code of practice on disinformation to ensure that social media grants like Google, Meta, and Twitter start flagging deepfakes content or potentially face fines. Further, under the proposed EU AI Act, deepfakes providers would be subject to transparency and disclosure requirements. Then what next? According to Mr. Gupta, AI governance in India cannot be restricted to just a law and a reform. They have to be centered around establishing standards of safety, increasing awareness, and institutions building. AI also provides benefits, so you have to assimilate it in a way that improves human welfare on every metric while limiting the challenges it imposes. He says Mrs. Ahmad points out that India's regulatory response cannot be replica of laws in other jurisdictions such as China, the US, and the European Union. We also have to keep in mind in the Indian context, which is that our economy is still sort of developing. We have a young and thriving startup ecosystem, and therefore any sort of legislative response cannot be so stringent that it impedes innovation. He says. Sorry, she says. Then next, a Supreme Court asked Center to give details of inflow of illegal migrants. The Supreme Court on Thursday said there was a feeling that an unlimited influx of illegal migrants from Bangladesh not only changed demographics but also posed a burden on resources meant for Indian citizens. On one hand, we do not have an open border through which anybody from Bangladesh can come and settle anywhere in India. At the same time, if we do not take action to curb illegal migration, then it causes all these problems in India. The feeling in India that infrastructure is limited, education is limited, public hospitals are limited. We cannot allow an unlimited influx. Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud, heading a constitution bench, observed the bench is hearing a series of petitions by indigenous Assamese groups challenging Section 6A of Citizenship Act 1955. The groups have argued that the special provision brought in short after the signing of the Assam Accord in 1985 became a beacon for illegal immigrations into India to settle in Assam, gain Indian citizenship, deprive the local people of their political and economic rights, and destroy the Assamese cultural identity. Section 6A divided immigration from Bangladesh to India into three time periods. Those who entered their India before January 1, 1966 were deemed Indian citizens. Those who came in between January 1, 1966 and March 25, 1971 were registered as Indians provided they fulfilled certain conditions. People who crossed over to India after March 25, 1971 were illegal migrants and were to be reported at the as per the law. The file affidavit, the Supreme Court ordered the Home Secretary to file an affidavit before Monday on the estimated inflow of illegal migrants into India, including but not confined to Assam after March 25, 1971. Steps taken by center to deal with the illegal immigrations and details on the extent of and timeliness for the border fencing. Chief Justice Chandrachud said India was not an authoritarian country that would just pick up illegal immigrants and deport them. The CJI said India followed due process of law as there was a genuine fear that innocents will be picked up. Senior advocate Kapil Sibal, appearing for a respondent party in the case, indicated that legislative policies such as Section 6A created problem. It becomes us versus the others, he said. The court asked the center while Section 6A, which gave illegal migrants the benefit of Indian citizenship, was made applicable only in Assam and not in West Bengal, which shared a large portion of the border with Bangladesh. Why did you single out Assam? Did you have any opposite data to show that the illegal immigration to West Bengal was minimal compared to Assam, so that you left the former state alone? Possibly the extent of illegal immigration to West Bengal may have been more significant than in Assam. Chief Justice Chandrachud addressed Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, appearing for the centre and the state of Assam. The court asked the government to give details about illegal immigration post March 25, 1971 into the West Bengal part of the border. The Chief Justice noted that grievances about demographic changes and destruction of the local cultural identity due to illegal immigration from a foreign country cannot be compared to complaints by people of one state about how migrants from another state within the country were changing their culture. There is a huge interstate migration in the IT sector. The people cannot say because of this our culture is being changed. India is our entity. People from no one state can say that our culture is being affected because of the influx from another state, Chief Justice Chandrachud clarified. The next RBI's MPC may reject growth inflation math. Reserve Bank of India (RBI) Governor Shaktikant Das, who will outline the Monetary Policy Committee's decision on Friday, is expected to convey a continuation of central bank hawkish stance with a pursue on interest rates, but may reset growth and inflation projection for 23-24 in view of the second quarter growth numbers and food inflation worries. While retail inflation has eased 4.87% in October, the rise in food prices remained sticky at 6.6%. May have risen further in November as prices of the onion, tomatoes, and pulses have hardened since. The RBI has forecast an average inflation rate of 5.6% in the current quarter, based on while based on which no November and December may yet experience an almost 6% inflation rate for the full year. RBI had projected an average inflation rate of 5.4% and the real GDP growth of 6.5%, which may need a revisit and as growth in Q2 overshot its estimate of 6.5% for the quarter to touch 7.8%. There can be upward revision in the GDP growth numbers through, though they will not be very significant, it said Madan Sabnavi, chief economist at Bank of Baroda, who exports a status quo on rates and policy stance in the bi-monthly review. An upward revision of 0.1 to 0.2% can be expected. Inflation forecast may stay unchanged, and if there is a revision, it will be upward, he said. Then आज का जो लास्ट आर्टिकल है preparing for health emergency after flooding. The Indian monsoon brings with its cyclone and flooding. Fearful and battered communities are left to cope with vector-borne diseases and an ever-present threat of drowning. Electrocution, snakes, poisonous insects, respiratory respiratory disease of late COVID-19 owing to crowding. Cyclone Michaung that swept through the coastal district of Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh earlier this week left thousands more on for several days. Rescue work is underway in Chennai, Thiruvallur, Kanchipuram, and Chengapattu districts that were in the path of cyclone. Neighboring Andhra Pradesh has started assessing the damage and will soon start taking preventive health measures. Tamil Nadu Director of Public Health issues a preemptive four-page instruction to health officials across the state to prepare for the emergency floods disrupt access to food, water, and safe shelter and jeopardize the community ability to get healthcare services they need. Contaminated water, which is all around after flooding, is responsible for vector-borne disease such as cholera, typhoid, and malaria. After the cyclone and rains died down, the state government also commissioned mobile medicine medical units. The unit, which included doctor, staff nurse, sanitary inspector, and an assistant, will function all day in the urban health center for at least a week. The World Health Organization states on its website that being prepared for the challenges such an emergency would reduce the magnitude of the physical human cost, ensuring that the affected get food, restoring primary care services, putting together mobile health terms and outreach, and deducting epidemic surveillance help. Acute diarrhea diseases and cholera can be prevented by ensuring safe water sanitation. Those with severe symptoms will need rapid treatment with intravenous fluid and antibiotics. In localities that have a high risk of cholera, improved sanitation and oral vaccines have helped. Since most people show only mid to moderate symptoms, it is often missed. Some are infected but do not develop any symptoms, and the bacteria is present in the face for as many as 10 days after infection. This could potentially infect others. Unrated acute watery diarrhea and dehydration can cause death. So friends, this is all for today, and we will meet from tomorrow onwards with new news articles from the Hindu newspaper, which are relevant for UPSC exam perspectives. So till then, keep studying, and thank you to all who views my channel.